So here we go then. 5 seconds. Race 2.
Mark rounding coming up. It looks like the Danes and then Alberto Carrero. And there's battling with him. KGR is coming in. KGR Sushi Gin Tonic. It's the German.
Italian has it. They are off. There's a couple of early starts and a couple of penalties. One for the Dutch already.
On the inside, he can penalize Rausenlag, and he knows it.
He's forcing the Spaniard out over to the right-hand side. You're going to see him maneuver now. He's going to dive in, and it's a penalty to Lucas Moore.
How did that happen? I want to see that in replay afterwards. Hello and welcome to this evening's eSailing Nations Cup. My name is Thomas Bjørn Luthi and I'm going to guide you through tonight's big battle coming up. And it's quite amazing what's happening tonight because these two teams are sitting in each their time zone, well spread around the world. But I'm not being alone tonight. Please invite in my co-commentator in the commentator box, Mr. Alec Wilkinson.
Yes, hello everyone, and it's incredible, Thomas, isn't it, to think that players are competing all the way east, all the way, to the far side of Siberia, because it's Russia against the Netherlands, the huge Russian country against little Netherlands. But the Netherlands are seeded 6th, Russia seeded 11th. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes tonight. Let's have a look at the actual the draw for this round 1, because this is the 4th of 5 races, 5 regattas in round 1. So there we go. That's how they line up then. And you can see on the left-hand side, we've already got a couple of the completed round 1 games. But over bottom right, it's the Netherlands against Russia. And the winner will go through to the quarterfinals to face 3rd seed Italy. The top 3 seeds automatically went through to the quarterfinals. After tonight, that will leave us one more round 1 qualifying regatta, Japan against France, which will bring you live on Saturday night. But for tonight, they'll be playing and watching all the way from Vladivostok to Amsterdam.
And the format they're going to play is the fantastic eNations Cup, eSailing Nations Cup format. It's 9 races in different boat types and different formats. And we're going to start up with what we call, Alec, the fast big races, 10 versus 10 in the 49er. Then after we will slow down to a match race, female versus female in a starboat. And then we come to the always exciting and very exclusive 5v5 laser. There's been such big battles in that. all the other races and regattas. And then we have 6 more races. We'll talk more about when we're coming into it. But Alec, we met up with the Dutch a little bit earlier. Let's go in and hear what the Dutch team captain says. He is quite a special guy.
First of all, let's start with you telling us your name, because there's no way I can get my tongue around a Dutch name like that. So
Yeah,
over to you.
I'm Douwe Bosma from the Netherlands, 14 years old.
Douwe Bosma. So actually, it's not that incredible, is it?
No, it's not.
It's a lovely name. Now tell me, how is your team? Are you ready? Are you feeling a little bit nervous as a team? Have you practiced? Tell me about them.
The guys practicing in the Team Race League server. A lot in the F50 and Laser. And yeah, I think it's not the youngest team, but we're making a lot of fun. We are with the full team last round in the call, and yeah, we're making fun.
But you're 14 years old, so the youngest captain in the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the older players? Do they? I mean, is it difficult, or do they listen to your instructions?
They're all listen to each other. We are giving tips, and Robert's helping, and everyone is helping each other. We are watching on the stream, we coach them.
But it's pretty incredible, 14, to be in charge of a team that includes people like Bart Lambrechts, who, okay, he's pretty young himself, but he is a Dutch Olympic 49er sailor.
Yeah.
So how what's the relationship there? How does that work?
Yeah, Bart's of course a great eSailer. He go to a World Championship last year, no, last round he was in the team because he can't play that day, but now he's playing, and I don't know, I don't think we need to coach him a lot, because yeah, of course he's one of the best guys in the team, maybe the best.
So how have you organized the team for tonight? How have you all decided which races to compete in?
I called after the seeding round. I called with Robert, and we talked about some tactical stuff, and then we talked about the players in our team and who's better in team racing. But I don't know. I saw a lot of guys first trained in the Team Race League server, so I think we are one of the better team race teams now. And so we can pick everyone for a team race, so it doesn't matter now.
Okay, so are you guys confident going into this regatta?
Yeah, I think we are all focused on the for the win, and I saw the guys train a lot, man, and yeah, I trained a lot too with my sister. I match raced against her. So I think we're fine today.
And your sister, of course. So we are waiting for the first race of this regatta, and we like to start and finish. So race 1 and race 9 rather, with all sailors competing. So it's fast and it's furious, and we do also put them in the fastest boats, really, some of the fastest boats anyway. With the 49er, that's race number 1. It's 10 against 10, and I'm looking down at the list, and we now have all 20 players. We were just waiting for a couple to join, but they've now joined. They're on the race course, and they're preparing to start with 45 seconds to go. But trying to follow the Dutch and the German flags, so similar, is going to be interesting in commentary tonight, Thomas.
Yeah, it is, because it's brown versus orange, and in the 49er where the sail is, yeah, let's say it as it is, transparent. It's pretty hard to see it, but watch for the flags, it's almost also identical. But doesn't matter. We have good eyes with us, Alec. Race number 1 coming up 10 seconds for start.
We've got some big names lining up, and the Dutch there on the left-hand side. You can see Bart Lambrechts and Casper Van, and they are go. Race 1 of this 9-race regatta is underway between the Netherlands and Russia. And who's going to come out on top? We've seen the last 2 regattas go right down to the wire, to the 9th race. Is that going to be the same tonight?
Yeah, but it looks like a very slow start for the Dutch. The singing eSailer, Danny Panadero, he's actually a singer in the Netherlands. He's having a slow start. Douwe Bosma, the captain, and Casper van Duren also. So it looks like a good Russian start. And before the race, Alec, we talked about, hey, who is the favorite from the Russian players? And Ilya in the lead is one of them, and Irarush is also one, and then we have the captain Artube from Russia also. Those are the ones we want to keep an eye for. But here in the left-hand side, Wout van, we need our co-commentator. This is Wouter van. He's coming in here in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, Wouter doing well. So some names to keep an eye on for the Dutch. It's Douwe Bosma, Bart Lambrechts, who's a 49er Olympic sailor. They've got Wouter is another one, and Casper as well. So we shall see how it goes. But Wouter, the 25-year-old from the Netherlands, is out in front as the fleet of 20 converge on this top mark. And we've seen lots of penalties handed out at this point in previous regattas. But the leaders seem to be in order coming into the top mark, with Bart Lambrechts taking the lead.
Yeah, Wouter second, Aralus, the young physicist from Holland, in third, Robert Huisman in fourth. Then we have a fleet of Russian coming in, and then we have a gap to some Dutch in behind. That's Gutsche and Douwe Bosma. I have to say that's Douwe and his sister. They're sitting at home playing together, but right now they're 19 and 20. So 3 Dutchmen in the last position.
And if you're new to the Nations Cup, then I should explain that the way we work out who's won this is we add up all the positions, and then the team with the lowest number gets the point for this race.
Yeah, and right now it's quite orange up in the lead. See, 4 orange boat. They have a huge gap, Alec, down to Rustis from Russia, but hidden from the Netherlands is actually making a lot of troubles for Irarush, Rustis, and Ilya, who has huge issues of coming in front of Hidden, who is penalizing them in. So 4 boats from Netherlands in the lead, one of them getting a penalty for hitting the mark.
But they are through the bottom gate, our leaders. Bart Lambrechts still out in front. I mean, this is the boat that he will be sailing in the Olympic Games. He's obviously representing Holland. He's coming through. He's come through the junior ranks of Dutch sailing, and is now also coming through as one of the best e-sailors in the world. We've seen him compete in some of the top e-sailing events, and now he's doing the business here again in the Nations Cup. Wouter, the naval architect, is sitting in second, and Ilus is in third. But as you've said, there's no change to the leaders. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4, all from the Netherlands. Yeah,
but we can see Rustis is actually doing a great upwind. Robert Huisman is also a favorite, and Aralus is a good sailors from the Netherlands are getting losing momentum to Rustis, who's having a good upwind, and the 49er is a boat you're winning upwind and losing downwind. Let me explain. Upwind, if you sail the shortest distance and you really read your wind intelligence, then you can win meters like we're seeing Rustis is doing here. Downwind, if you're choosing to go to the wrong side and going away from the strong breeze and go into a light breeze, then you will lose 3 to 4 knots in speed downwind, and that is very costly in a fast, cool boat like this one. Penalties to the Russian, made by a Russian. So Rusty, we were talking so good about, was penalized by his own Ilya.
Yeah, I mean, unforced errors are silly when the fleet is spread out like this. Sometimes they're unavoidable in these big fleet races, but that was avoidable, and they might regret that. Now, a big bunch of Russians in the middle of the fleet, all sticking together, and then it's a long way back to 15, 16 for the remaining Dutch.
But Alec, see the score while you're saying that. We have a leading pack of Dutchmen in the lead. Then we have a leading pack, or a losing pack of Dutchmen behind, and all the Russians are in between them. Hard one to call, but the leaders are crossing the finish line now.
Bart Lambrechts and Wouter cross that finish line then. They are first and second. It's going to be a Dutchman in third. And here we've got Ilya Vyunov, a sort of lone Russian coming in, trying to split up the Dutch dominance at the front and trying to inflict a penalty, but picks one up himself. And it's going to be Dutch in first to sixth or fifth, I think.
Yeah.
With the best placed Russian, Ilya Vyunov, in sixth. Yeah. But it's really difficult, as you say, it's a difficult one to call because now there's this huge bunch of Russians in the middle of the fleet. And look how many orange spinnakers of Dutch boats are bringing up the rear.
Yeah, and I have to say the Russian Uranov was losing 2 positions in that battle. He took a big risk getting a penalty in front of the finish line and losing 2 points for the team. And I think when I'm watching down here, we'll get the confirmation from the race officer soon. Then we can see 5 Dutchmen in the lead, 4 Dutchmen behind. So that point, those 2 points he lost there, might actually have an effect of the result. And Alec.
Yeah. We've just had confirmation from the race officer. So that was a victory to the Netherlands. They win it 99 to 111.
Yeah, so 1-0 to the Netherlands after first race.
Yeah, and it's all about strategy and how the team races together. I mean, to a certain extent, in that first race, for the Dutch to be leading, be in the top 5, that kind of seals the deal. But we're going to see, as the evening unfolds and the regatta unfolds, we're going to see how team strategy will become really important and will make the difference between winning the regatta and losing.
Yeah, and while we're talking about, we just said, hey, we have a race officer. Race officers. We actually have a whole team of people behind us, helping us, organizing all this, communicating with the teams. And one of them we are having is Arthur. We have spoke about him. He's called Cube. And let's just go in and hear a little bit from Cube, what he is and who he is.
Arthur, our race officer, what are the biggest challenges, do you think, of being in control of this big Nations Cup event?
Well, being in control, it's like it's both a dream and then also a nightmare. As you get a lot of responsibilities, you have a chance to actually decide quite a lot and be part of the core of the event. So that creates some kind of feeling of having achieved something at the end, because you see nations competing and you see people having fun, and that's basically while you're doing this. But then on the other hand, you don't want anything to go wrong, and that in some cases, while it's quite stressful, and why it gives you goosebumps as well sometimes.
Out of the 9 races that you'll be officiating tonight, which is the one that gives you the biggest challenge and why?
The one that's giving me the biggest challenge is actually the first. Well, those are 2 races, the first and last one with 10 boats. Just because, well, you need to do the scoring, and it's quite a lot of numbers that you need to add up. So I mean, it's still not a big task. yeah, race-wise, that's probably the most challenging one.
You've been part of the eSailing community for quite some time, even though you're only 18. How does this event compare to other events in the past?
Well, as an organizer, it feels pretty much the same. I mean, I have to do the same things, write the same like instructions for racing and stuff like that. But then on the other side, you can see that in this event, the participants, the sailors actually racing in this event are so much more focused on the event itself, and they're really committed to it. And all the teams, like we saw them training a lot before this event. So you can see that people are actually waiting for this, and that's also something that pushes you and it forces you to try even harder to make this event very big and very successful.
All right, the Netherlands against Russia. How do you see it panning out? Because the out of 3 of the other round 1 regattas we've had, 2 have gone right down to the last race. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think tonight is gonna be a real exciting race, but I really can't tell anything about the outcome because, well, I know from the Netherlands they have a pretty young team, pretty talented team with a lot of good guys, good sailors there. But from the Russian side, I actually don't know quite a lot about them, and that's not because they're bad, but that's just because it might be this barrier of when you have a Dutch guy in front of you in a race, you remember his name because he's Dutch and he's from a neighbor country, so you remember him, and at the end of the week you still know, oh yeah, that's the guy that beat me. While if a Russian guy is beating you and you see those Russian letters, you don't remember those things because, well, you can't read it, and that's why, like, overall you don't have such a good impression on how the Russian player base is.
Okay, well, we'll see how it all goes tonight. Good luck for your officiating. And we're going to hear from you this evening with a few technical stuff, a few technical points, because you know this game inside out. So we'll speak to you again later. We're about to get the next race underway, and Arthur Van Dam by name, Van Dam by nature. You don't want to get on the wrong side of Arthur when you're out on the water. Our race officer has his beady eyes all over that race course. Yeah. And in case you're wondering, why do we call him Cube? Because as an eSailer, that is his racing name, his gaming name. So he's standing by. We'll be hearing from him through the evening when there are tactical things to discuss. And there are plenty of them to discuss already. It's a match race between the 2 females in the star class. It's Grutje of the Netherlands against Arsenyeva of Russia. And already the match race has turned nasty, hasn't it? Yeah. Penalties being inflicted on each other. And just 10 seconds to go, Thomas.
Yeah, and it's a clean start, but they just penalized. I count 5 times they penalized each other, Alec, in that start. That's a clean war. They're going in psychological on each other, but it's Grutje on the inside. She's controlling Arsenyeva in this case here, and see that's good control because the Russian can't tag up towards the top mark before the Dutch is doing it.
So the Dutch woman is going to be forcing out the Russian as far away from the ley line as possible. There we go. She now tacks in because she wants to stay as close as possible to the ley line. And Grutje is the 17-year-old sister of the Netherlands captain, Douwe, who we spoke to earlier on, 14-year-old. So they're sitting side by side at home playing. So Douwe, who's the more experienced eSailer, is giving her advice, but he's not allowed to actually take part. But he can, of course, help just in the same way as the rest of the team can help out and discuss things and coach through the chat room that they're all connected into. But right now, Grutja is beginning to pull away. She's got a good 30 meters on the Russian.
The Russian is doing a huge mistake here, Alex. She's putting herself in the wind shadow of Grutja, and see, there's almost 1 knot's in difference in between them. That's why Grutja is sneaking away from the Russian, but it's not enough to get away from the downwind action we're getting to. So it's all about how the Russian enters that top mark. And this is what it's about in the Nations Cup. We're going to see different races. We're going to see match races in a starboat like this. We're going to see fast races in the 49er, Nacra and F50. But here, it's all about personal skills. And it looks like Dara Bosma's sister, who he actually told us earlier when we talked with him, she only been playing for 1.5 months. Is actually top performing already. 80 meters in front, and the wind shadow cannot touch her.
Yeah, well, we found that experience doesn't always count in eSailing. Some eSailors really take to it like ducks to water and completely get it right from the start. Others take a little bit longer, but certainly I think you'd agree, Thomas, that the standard of sailing has really risen in the last 6-7 months, with so many people stuck at home, locked down because of the pandemic, and spending hours doing eSailing.
Yeah, and let's try to invite in Cube to hear what the Russian can do in this case to come back in the race, because now we saw Grutja going opposite the Russian in here. So Cube, what do you say to it?
So yeah, a very smart decision there from Asanieva to choose the opposite gate. We saw both gate marks actually being quite evenly spread out. So that's probably not making a big difference there. But now the big difference is that she doesn't have to deal with that wind shadow. And Grutja is still sailing quite a bit in front. But Asanieva still has a chance to come closer. And we see right now that this distance might actually be close enough to have a battle in the last downwind.
And what an interesting comment here from Cube Vialik. But let's see Grutja coming to the mark rounding, but she's doing a double tack for that mark rounding. That might be costly.
Yeah, it will be costly, but she's got enough space to get away with it. Now, we have seen in this exact same situation, we've seen the boat at the back come back downwind towards the finish line in the Star class. It's got a huge wind shadow. It's one of the largest wind shadows for the Inshore boats, 33 meters. And if the Russian can play it off, she might just have the acceleration to catch the Dutch girl.
And it looks like, let's try to go to 2D mode. It looks like that the Dutch is just inside the wind shadow. 0.1. No, yeah, she's just inside. She's afflicted by it, but it's not enough for the Russian to do anything about it. You can see that wide area. That's the wind shadow here. So it's a hard one to catch up. And yeah, the finish line is getting closer, Alec. This will actually be a victory for the Netherlands.
Yes, it will be. That finish line just a few meters away. And that will do Grutja's confidence an enormous amount of good going into the other races of the night. As you say, she hasn't been eSailing long. And this victory will really help her and push her forwards with her career in this. Asanieva 54. A good performance from her, but just not good enough in the end. And so that means it is now the Netherlands 2, Russia 0.
A good start for the Russian, Alec, and for the Dutch against the Russian. But can they keep on the pressure? As we said in the start, the Russians are quite an unwritten letter for us. We don't know much about them because they are playing in another time zone than most of the European sailors are doing. And the Dutch, some of them are actually been in finals in SailGP, the World Championship. So we know a lot about them.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of Russian eSailors, and it is a huge country. So they'll probably, if you actually add them up, there'll probably be a lot a lot more eSailors in Russia than there are in the Netherlands. But as you say, because of the different time zones, because of some different competitions, and of course there's always the language barrier, the Russians are always difficult to get a handle on, to work out, exactly where they are quality-wise. But certainly, there's plenty of Russian eSailors who are breaking through into the finals of the big events.
But don't write the Russians out of this. I know it's the First Nations Cup. I know the Russians from a lot of other esports games around it, and there the Russians are quite dominant because it's a huge country, and some of them actually have a very good time to set them in the game. And when they have a focus to be good at something, they're really getting good to it. Alec, we're going into the next race. That's going to be a laser. We are changing boat type again, and it's going to be a 5v5. And it has been quite an interesting race in the other Nations Cup rounds we had. So what are we thinking to see in this race?
Yeah, so it's 5 against 5 in the laser. So we're going to see, I think, a lot of team tactics, at least. If the two teams are talking and have got strategies and have made the time to prepare, that's what I think we're going to see. So it's going to be interesting. We'll try and talk you through those strategies as we spot them.
Let's go in game. We can see almost all players are ready. We are missing one Dutch. Then we are ready to go. Yeah, and Alec, here we have the laser. See it here when we get closer to it. And this time we can see the color difference because it's on the boat. So it's orange against brown. And some of the, I can see here we have one Dutch boat putting a 4-leaf on. Maybe they need some more luck to get into it. And there we're ready, 10 player coming in.
Yeah, maybe it's a Dutchman with some Irish connections. But the Dutch in this third race represented. Grutjes back in it. Then we've got Wip, Elus, Binder, and Teun Binkhorst. Yeah. And apologies to all our Dutch viewers for my attempts at those Dutch names. I'm doing my best. Arttube, Iliaris 1, Arttube Russia 1, and Kuzin will be the Russian sailors in this race. So just to make it clear, we've got 2 Arttubes there. Yeah. One of them is Arttube Russia 1. So just to differentiate between him and their team captain, who is simply Arttube.
But this is actually, Alec, this is actually the Russian team that we know. I know a lot from the service. Irarush, top sailor. Kuzin, top sailor. Arttube, the captain, top sailor. These players know how to race in Virtual Regatta Inshore. But the question is, do the Russians know how to do team races? Because as Dawa, he said, it's all about practicing those team races, and that's what it's all about.
Well, they certainly know how to inflict penalties because they inflicted 2 very quickly in that pre-start sequence. But they're away now, and most of the fleet starting on this left-hand side, but now they're tacking, heading off to the middle of the course. And the wind looking fairly even right across the course.
Yeah, and it's actually a great race by Asenevia. She's doing a great stop, going in front of Erlus, controlling him, and also making Binder needs him to tack away. So a great start by her after the match race, where she made a small mistake going in the wind shadow. Here she's using the wind shadow to slow down the Russian. Then we have a 3 versus 1 in the opposite side. Arttube. He's actually in trouble because Hidden, Wimp, and Gutze, they are on the good side. When they cross in, tack in front of him, he will get a penalty. So if Wimp is slowing down, then he will be caught in a trap. So a split in between fleets. Interesting how this will unfold.
It will, and be interesting to see when the attacks start, because this can be quite an aggressive race between these 10 boats.
Kuzin in front of us here. We have Irarush, the two top sailors we know from online playing. Irarush, the young physicist, he actually put himself in a position when he tacks in, then he will come from starboard. He will have to ride away. So Irorush and Kuzen needs to go behind him. See, now it's going in. See how close he's coming in. He's just going in front of him. Irorush needs to go behind him. Just do it. But see, Kuzen in trouble. He tacks away, losing momentum. But a Russian in the lead. Amazing stuff, Alec. This is going to be a close battle. I can see that already now.
Yeah, a Russian in the lead, but it's really close. Arsenyeva around the top mark. A penalty for Artube in the approach to that top mark. Second place whip of the Netherlands. And then, well, it's messy, isn't it? They're touching the mark. They're picking up penalties. They're crashing into each other. And I think actually that was a Russian v Russian there for a moment.
Yeah, actually, it was Erlus going in and inflicting a penalty on Kuzen. Kuzen actually won it because Erlus going in and penalizing Kuzen sailed into the mark. But see, it's a battle. This is a battle. See how close they are. They are penalizing each other. They're battling for all positions. This is actually one of the most wild battles we have in the first downwind action, I like here. So great stuff by them. Let's try to bring in Cube to here. Why these battles are so important. Let's see what Cube is saying to that.
Yeah, very interesting battles in its first downwind. We saw the whole fleet coming to that first windward mark, very closely packed, all next to each other, all behind each other. And actually, on the downwind, they immediately started spreading out. We had the Russians in front, and they just tried to spread out the fleet as much as possible to get that clean wind. And then behind them, we had the Dutch building this sort of barrier. Well, they did very well actually, because if we're looking right now, we can see that the Dutch actually made a quite good maneuver to get back into this first position.
The Russian Artube picking up quite a few penalties. In fact, I think he's picked up a penalty at every mark rounding so far. Interesting little battle just near the front there between Whip and Arsenyeva. They keep threatening each other and coming in towards each other and trying to cross. Arsenyeva being kept out by Whip, the leader.
But this is actually showing Arsenyeva is actually a good sailor, because see here, a direct attack from Whip. Did you see? He just turned his boat around, sailed after penalizing Arsenyeva, and then he sneaks away. That's team. That's how it's it. It's a game. It's an esport. It's not always fair in an esport, but that's how the rules working. So very nice team race by Wim there, going in and putting Arsenyeva behind. So now there are 2 Dutch in the lead, and maybe 3 will come in. But Kuzen is also in that battle.
Whip means business. Really aggressive attack there, and that has put him in a great position. Now in second, behind Hiddeschraf of the Netherlands. So it's the Netherlands first, second, and third. Best placed Russian is Kuzen.
Yeah, and
penalty for Arsenyeva.
Yeah. Binder just attacked her, and then penalty to Artube, and he's losing momentum. It looks bad for the Russian right now. 4 boats behind. Kuzen, he's the only one who can do anything, but there are 3. There's 3 boats in the lead at the moment. That's all Dutch. So let's see how that will go. I think the Dutch can seal it here.
The Dutch are heading towards that finish line, and the leaders are going to be there very soon. But the battles near the back continue as the Dutch rear-enders try to hold off the charge from the Russian boats. But I think the Russians have left it too late now. In 6th, in 7th, in 9th and 10th, Artube is paying the price for all those penalties in the first half of the race.
Yeah, Erlus and Kuzen having a battle. See Kuzen waiting for his teammates, waiting to get a position to attack Erlus. Oh, he maneuvered, so he got a penalty instead of, because Erlus didn't move there. But here we can see the wind is going away. Götze doing her job the best way she can do, just making a lot of mess. So the Russian can't get back in the race. And that she's doing quite well at the moment.
She is. She's inflicting penalties on her neighbours. So she's putting up a good fight near the back of the fleet here.
So
but I think The Dutch did enough.
The Dutch did enough. Let's get a confirmation from Cube himself. He's doing the mathematics together with his team behind the scene. But I'm pretty sure we can say it's 3-0 to the Dutch. While we're saying that, let's just see how they're switching positions all the time. In the start, it was looking good for the Russians, but then the Netherlands came in and did a great job. And we have a confirmation the Netherlands are winning on points. And but see here, we had in the lead in the start, and she's ending up. Arsenjever did a fantastic start, but then she got 3 penalties in a row at the top mark. Irarus, top sailor, also was in 5th and got 2 penalties and dropped down. That is both the beauty and also the hard thing about the game.
Now, I was just checking the scores from previous regattas because we've had some really close regattas, and those close regattas have involved a huge comeback from the team that ended up winning. So Sweden came back to beat Ireland, and last night Germany came back to beat Switzerland. But they all came back from 2 races down. The Russians are already 3 races down. The Netherlands are now 2 away from victory. So, yes, the Russians can do it. And I really believe they've got it in them, and they've got some real quality sailors there, so they can do it. But it's getting harder and harder for them.
But I know the Dutchmen quite well. They have prepared themselves a lot today. But see, the first 3 races actually was keel boats, and now we're going more over to the foiling boats. So let's see if the Russians are having a little bit more luck, or not luck, more game into it in those foil boats, because the next race is going to be an F50, the CLDP boat, 3 versus 3. And there we saw some quite interesting races. Or is it 2 versus 2? Let's just go into the format, because even...
No, it's 3v3.
Yeah, it's 3v3. They're in there already now, the EF50. Let's get ready to action. And what a starting line we have here, Alec, in race number 4. 3v3 at 50, reaching start. We have 3 Dutchmen, Douwe Bosma, Erelus, and Hidden coming in there for the Netherlands. Then we have Megasip, Iyalia, and then we have Alexei from Russia. How will this unfold? Right now, a penalty to the Dutchman from the start.
Yeah, he's got time to lose that, though, before they hit the trigger. So the EF50, for those who are new to this, it's a catamaran, obviously. It's what they race in SailGP. It's got a wing sail. It's got foils. It's a whole different boat from the ones we've seen so far in this regatta. And already the jostling for position, the fighting near the start has begun, with the Russians trying to take advantage, trying to hamper the Dutch boat closest to us. But these are really fast boats, and now they're beginning to gather speed. It's a reaching start, so they'll be hitting almost full speed as they reach that first mark. And the Dutch eventually getting the better of the Russian closest to us, and they will cross the line on 0. They are away. It is go in the EF50.
Did you see that penalty, Alec? Sorry, I'm laughing. Douwe was going to penalize Megasip, and then he pushed Megasip into Hidden, so Hidden ending up a penalty. Douwe with a penalty. The Russian with an okay start, actually a good start. Another penalty coming into Alexei, but right now it looks good for the Russians.
Little time to think, because they're traveling at such speeds. You don't have as long on the controls, whether you're using a PC or a mobile or a tablet, whatever. You've really got to be used to sailing these very fast boats. Otherwise, mistakes can happen very easily. Penalty for Megazip.
Yeah, hitting the mark, and that's just showing he's unproved in this boat. Where we can see a player like Douwe Bosma. He has been in 2 SailGP qualifier finals in the campaign there. He's also was part of their wild card for age players, under 21 years old. He was a wildcard player there, and he didn't come through. It came to Anasporas from Spain instead of. But see, he's already back from 6th to 4th. He's a very strong sailor in this boat. Hidden opposite
the
side.
Trick in the EF50, the trick really is to stay in touch with the boat in front, because catching them once they've gone away in the lead is very difficult. And Ailus at the moment, 75-meter lead. That's far from being, being a winning lead yet. Ilya Vyunov in second, 80 meters behind. Megazip in third. They've got to stay clear of the boundaries, or they pick up penalties.
But see a close battle here.
Oh, look at that cross in the middle of the fleet.
Yeah, it's very... Megazip is covering Hidden quite well. Oh, what's happening there? It looks like we have a disconnection or connection issues. Or they're slowing down in purpose to see if they can capture Dower in a trap. See, they're trying to capture Dower in a trap. Oh, it almost succeeds. But then Megazip gets away in second. But now they need to capture Dower and they need to capture Hidden.
Wow, they just effectively let Dower speed through past them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Eilers stood out in front, Megazip second, but they've shuffled up at the moment. I think the Dutch have the advantage.
Yeah, it looks like that, but what we saw the Russians doing, they were trying to do a trap. Megazip actually went to the opposite side with speed, and then Ilyana slowed down in hope of that Dower will hit her, because this boat is very, very hard to maneuvering. See, it's like it's racing in straight lines. It's not like the other boats where you can just maneuver around them. And Dower is actually captured by Ilyana now. So right now it actually looks great for the Russians. It's only Alexei they need to speed up a little bit. So if he gets 5th, then the Russian is in the lead.
So the fleet is shuffled, and now the Russians have the advantage.
It's a very close race. It's 11 points for Russia, 10 points for Netherlands, and it's all about getting under 11 points in this race and see how close they are. Penalty to hit it! This might be the trick, Alec! Now they have the chance. See how they're crossing the Russians. The Dutch cannot do anything. They're well-timed attacks by them. Great stuff. Dower last now. The Russians in the lead with 9 points. Great race by them. See, attack on Dower. Yeah.
Oh, look at them dancing their merry dance, Ilya. But now Dower has the advantage over Ilya.
Yeah, actually
in
not.
The middle there.
He needs to do an next attack, Alec. He has the advantage. He's a little bit in front, but see, oi! Oh,
there he goes. He inflicts the penalty.
Yeah. But he slows down, and he might not win anything on it. See, Ilya coming back now in a good position. There he's back in the race. And another penalty. No, he loves this job he's doing now. Ilya needs to get 5th to make the Russians win. And see, now Megazip is only focused on killing Hidden. This is esport now. It's not sailing. See, they're slowing down Dower. No, penalty to Alexei. Hidden, he wins it up there.
But Ilya's still out in front, and they're running out of time. The race is almost over. Ilya right at the back, penalty to Megazip, and now the Dutch have the advantage as the leader from Russia, from the Holland, will cross the finish line to win the race. But then it's a Dutchman in second, a Russian in third, and Douwe Bosma, I think, has done enough to seal the win for the Dutch.
Yeah, he does.
But what a battle at the back! That was it was aggressive. It was clever. It was fascinating battles, wasn't it, at the back of the fleet there?
Yeah, and Alec, that was esport. And this is what the game also can. We have sailing and we have esport part. And here we had a mix of sailing in the start, and then the Russians got mad and got into gaming and esport. And let's just try to see, this could be fun to see this one here. See how they're switching positions all the time. Alexei, who was behind because of the esport part, actually came up in third, but Hidden wanted at the top mark, where Megazip tried to slow him down. And went around.
Megazip and Ilya really picking up some penalties and dropping down. You can see that line dropping down the fleet.
4-0 to the Netherlands against Russia. It's not over yet, but it looks like the Netherlands are in a good shape to win this regatta.
Well, that really puts the pressure on the next race, because it could all be done and dusted for the Netherlands in race number 5. 5-0 it could be, and it's in the J70, and it's 2 against 2. So if we saw eSport at its best in that previous race, let's just see the sailing tactics and strategy from the 4 sailors in the next race.
But it's quite interesting. It's the first time I see a team race in an F50 where one skipper is actually at the top mark, turns around his boat, straight attack on another boat. But unlucky for him, he missed it. But what had happened if he hit it? Then it has been a whole other result we saw in that game. But that's how it is.
But it's hotting up, isn't it? With every race, the players are getting more and more aggressive, aren't they?
They are, and I think we will see the Russian bear wake up. But the Russian bear is waking up in the next race to, I have to say, quite a competition. We're going to see Bartlam Briggs in that race. We're going to see Robert Huisman. So a World Championship participant, Bartlam Briggs. And Robert Huisman, as in my opinion, might be one of the top 3 sailors in the Netherlands. We have Bart, we have Douwer, who was the Dutch champion, and Robert. But we also heard that Hidden, he came in the top. But the only reason Bart is not in the top of the Dutch championship was because he didn't have time to play it. He was at the European Championship in the 49er. So that might have changed the whole picture there.
Yeah, and the Russian sailors, Megazip and Zoom 8. So Megazip is just coming in off the back of what turned out to be a poor result for him in the F50. So we'll see if he can turn things around.
But let's go in game. We're missing 1 player from Russia, but we are almost ready to start. And Alec, this is race number 5, and the Netherlands have, 5 match points.
5 match points. Well, that's definitely the best position of any of the round 1 matches so far. 50 seconds to go. It's the J70, our first look at this boat in this particular regatta. And it's the downwind really that interests us most, because that's where this race can be won or lost. And we'll discuss that further when they hit that downwind leg. Are we going to see an interesting start here from the Dutch as they head off onto the race course? They've got to be back, of course, behind the line.
Yeah, but
before the race actually starts.
It looks like more mano-mano. They're doing a coverage of each other. They agreed on that one boat following another boat. And I can see Robert Huisman is going to battling, I think, with Megazip. Bartlam Briggs is battling with Zoom. But who will win that one? And see, slowing down, all of them getting a penalty and start. This is going to be a very, very slow start for both teams. But see what happens. Bartlam Briggs sneaking away.
Bartlam Briggs doing his classic start of coming back across the line on 0. And, well, when he pulls it off, it works really well. And it's worked well here tonight. Bartlam Briggs out in front. Megazip in second. So it's the Dutch first and third, and the Russians second and fourth so far. But yes, as you've said, we've got 2 match races going on, haven't we? Yeah. One on the left-hand side of the course and one to the right of this screen.
Yeah, and right now we can see Zoom is actually covering Robert quite good. Bartlam Briggs is covering Megazip quite good. So it is a match race where in the one side the Dutch is leading and the other side we have the Russians leading. But let's hear Cube a little bit about what he's thinking about this way they're racing at the moment.
Yeah, right now I thought this was a missed opportunity there from Megazip. I mean, you just gotta be more aggressive in those races, and he had a huge opportunity to penalize Robert, because, well, at the end, the only place that matters in the 2v2 is the last position. If you're not lost, you win the race. So whenever you put one of those guys from the other team into a lost position by giving him a penalty, I mean, just take that chance and give him a penalty. Don't think about the rest. And we've seen in a lot of races, and we've seen that the other days as well.
Yeah.
And here, this is the perfect example. I mean, why not just give that penalty? Of course, he lost quite a bit of speed now, and I think Bart Lambrick is still managing to pull himself out of it. But you really have to be more aggressive. It's the key in those type of races.
Oh, that's amazing, Cube. Thank you for that insight here.
It goes against a lot of these sailors' kind of natural instinct, though, because a lot of these guys are, real sailors, quite a gentlemanly sport a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, where, there is a certain amount of sportsmanship involved. And then to be aggressive and to sort of take your boat and crash it into another boat sometimes just goes against their natural instincts as real sailors. But that's e-sport and that's e-sailing, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
And right now, Bart Lambrex has the advantage over Megazip.
Yeah, and Megazip has the wrong focus, as Cube just explained us also. He has the focus to get in the lead and win over Bart, but see his teammate, Zoom, he's way behind, 60 meters behind Robert Huisman. So Megazip actually needs to slow down his boat and focus on Robert and attack him, because if Bart Lambrex is getting first...
An attack on Bart Lambrex.
Yeah. But
that was at a crucial point, just going through that around that mark.
But it's still not changing the fact that Zoom are in the last position. And right now, Megazip, he thinks it's all about winning. So he's going away from the two Dutchmen. And he's winning momentum, but the Dutchmen actually don't care. Now he's going to attack Robert. It's like they're hearing what we are saying in here and talking together. Robert under pressure, Megazip comes down, and Bart Lambrex reacts straight away, breaking down the boat, getting ready to defend Robert in this case. Now the action begins.
This is where we start talking about draws and what happens if it's a draw.
Yeah, what happens if there's a draw? In this race, both teams can have 5 points. Then it's the boat with the winning boat, the team with the winning boat that is losing. And the rule is quite simple, Alec. It's because he didn't help his teammate the right way. So he was not good enough to help the team. That's why they're losing. But right now, it looks hard for the Russians, but they are in a good position to do downwind attack, both from the Netherlands.
Yeah. So Bart Lambrex is round, but look at this. The Russians really challenging now. They've closed the gap on Robert Huisman, Megazip and Zoom 8. They've got one more leg to try and reel in Robert Huisman and try and get in front of him.
Yeah, and this time they need to attack Robert. They just need to be aggressive. They need to get him last.
Well, the J70 with its 30-meter wind shadow. We said earlier, didn't we, that it's the downwind that allows for overtaking in eSailing, and we'll see if it works this time. Can they catch the boats in front?
And right now it looks like Megazip is getting ready to attack Robert Huisman, but Robert is quite routine. See there, it jibes away, going on the inside, but their teammate coming in. Zoom, no, he's not aggressive enough. I just sailed into him and penalized him there. Well, let's see, Megazip coming in. It's all about Robert. Oh, he wins that battle. And now the Russians are both on the wrong side of him. Great race by Robert there.
Yeah, Megazip picked up the penalty that he was trying to inflict on the Dutchman. And now Bart Lambrex is slowed to help his teammate.
And Robert needs to have a penalty now. He gets it. Now it's the chance of the Russians. Will they take it? It's coming in. It's... Oh. I need to see it in the score. It's so close, Alec.
It's impossible to call. We'll have to see what the computer tells us.
0.3, Alec. The Russians are losing on 0.3 of a sec till the Dutch. So
wow, it was so close, wasn't it? So the Dutch picking up 4 points, the Russians picking up 6 points. But never mind this race. What that means is that the Netherlands have beaten Russia and will go through to the quarterfinals.
And Alec, now we have one of those situations where we actually experience a team winning the first 5 races. But don't worry, viewers out there, we're going to see the next 4 races also. We know that Netherlands cannot win it, but the Russians can actually battle for their honor now.
Yeah, I mean, they could come back, couldn't they? They could come back to what, 5-4, if they want to. But yeah, I mean, a dominant performance from the Dutch. They were aggressive when they needed to be, but I think it was a measured aggression. They knew exactly how to inflict those penalties, and we saw, especially in that last race, a little bit of naivety from the Russians, who got caught out time and time again by the Dutch tactics.
Yeah, let's just have a small break before we're getting ready for the last 4 races.
Well, the Russians are now playing for pride. It's 5-0 to the Netherlands. And we have another match race. It's some of their top players, Douwe Bosma against Iliarus 1 of Russia in the Star.
As I remember, both of them are actually winner of their national championship. So it's the 2 national champions against each other. And Iliarus, he's actually one of those players I've been seeing a lot on the eSailing servers. Also top performing. In most of the events, he's in top 20. And Douwe Bosma is also one of those in top 20 into international communities. But it's a battle for honor. But let's see what the Russian bear is doing. Maybe they woke up now.
Well, the clock is counting down. They seem to have found their line, and they're now heading towards that start line. And it's a clean start, and they are bow to bow. So there's very little to separate them in these off the start line in this 6th race of the regatta. So Cube, let's bring you in. As an eSailer, an experienced eSailer, what are we going to see in the next few sort of meters up to the top mark?
So well, right now it's a quite relaxed position for Douwe. He can go on until the edge of the world in this game. I mean, right now there is pretty much nothing that Iliarus can do except for bearing away and attacking behind Douwe, and then Douwe will just stack in front and cover him. So I think both players know this, and right now they are just waiting for each other to make the first move. And we see that it's gonna be Douwe with that attack. Now just sailing above the ley line, so he's quite above ley line, and now we see him speeding up towards that windward mark, and Iliarus can do nothing else but follow, but they're still quite close there.
But Alec, see here, opposite the female here, then he went on the inside where Asneva, she went on the outside, so he didn't get the wind shadow, so he's close enough for Douwe to do a downwind battle.
Well, we'll see what happens in the downwind then. And he is close, as you say, and will now take advantage of that. And we're going to see him accelerate and close the gap on Dower.
Oh, Dower going to the left-hand side just to prevent that wind shadow, Alec.
Yeah, but he can't keep going forever.
No.
And now we're going to see Ilurus accelerate away.
And Dower needs it. He's going upwind to defend
being
himself.
Really aggressive.
Aye, penalty to Ilurus. Dower, he knows the game so well that he went upwind to penalize Ilurus. And Ilurus was not prepared for it, but reacted. But it's not over. This is going to take a while before they're at that gate mark.
This is going to be cat and mouse all the way to the finish.
Another one from Dower, but every time he does it, he comes behind. Cube, what are you saying to this battle?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting to watch and to see how Dower is inflicting those penalties time after time. And I mean, I think he's just enjoying it because, well, like you were saying, he knows those rules so well and he knows how to position himself perfectly. But here we see the first mistake right as I'm saying it. So a very smart move there from Ilurus, and now actually putting him in a very good position to round that gate mark in first place. And that's exactly what he's gonna do. So it's all open again, and now we have Russia in front at the beginning of this second upwind leg.
Maybe Dower got carried away with that. He was ahead. He had the advantage. Maybe he should have, at a certain point, been happy with the advantage he had and tried to build on it. But right now, Ilurus is out in front.
Yeah, and
it's really close, isn't it? He's going to try and affect Dower with Dirty Breeze, and Dower's trying to get away from him.
Yeah, we sometimes see these young players as Dower, Pepito from France. We see them get a little bit, let me say it as it is, cocky when they are in front or they think they're in control. And then suddenly some of the routine sailors just nails it and gets into the lead. But now it's up to Dower to actually show that he's skilled in the downwind action, because this is champion versus champion. And I think Ilurus will get ready to defend his position with all missions.
Yeah, it's really set up now for a storming final downwind leg, because unless something happens in this round, in this mark rounding, Ilurus doesn't have enough of a lead to be able to see off Dower. So he's going to have to fight him. He's going to have to cover, and Dower is going to be fight all the way to the finish line now.
Yeah, and let's see here. It's the mark rounding. Let's see the meters. It's coming in here. From bow to bow, 40 meters, but he's inside the wind shadow. So Dower 6.7, Ilurus 5.9. But one thing is interesting, Alec. The distance is bigger than in the last downwind race. So will Ilurus have a chance to sneak away? Let's see. That's going to be interesting.
Well, already the gap closing between them. 5.6, 6.3 knots, you see. It's unsustainable for Ilurus.
But he wants to keep himself on the inside. He don't want Dower to go on the inside of him. Oh, he's letting Dower on the inside. That was a mistake. So Dower penalized him straight away. So now it's cat and mouse again, because it's not over yet, Alec.
Yeah, but Dower's out in front, but heading out towards that left-hand side. Doesn't want to go out too far. The Russian is going to try and penalize him again, but he's not got right of way yet. And he picks up the penalty, and Dower goes ahead.
But the Russian, he's placing himself again on the wrong side. Now he's going on the inside. But I think it's too late. The Russian, one last attack. Ah, he was tagging it on finish line. The Russian wins.
Oh, right on the line. He pulls it off. He pulls it off, and the Russian wins it. And Dower disappears very quickly in a huff.
And Alec, there we saw what I just spoke about. Some of the youth players saying, I'm so good at this. And then we saw Ilurus actually going upwind and getting Dower away from the finish line. taking a penalty, but now he went so fast upwind that he took time to get around, and then he penalized him on the finish line. So great point for Russia. Great point.
Yeah, great point for Russia. We said that they were going to do everything to fight back. And that was, Russian national champion against the Dutch national champion. And you could see just how close it was, decided on the line. Fantastic race.
So quite exciting. The Russians haven't given up, even they have lost this regatta. They will show the best what they can. And now we're coming into one of the favorite races we have in this game, Alec. 3 versus 3.
Yeah, 3 against 3 in the J70. So our second race in the J70. 6 players out there. And again, a really tactical race, this team race. Until they get across that start line, until we see the pre-start, it's difficult to work out, to try and guess what the strategy will be.
Yeah, and let's just while we're waiting for the players to get ready, let's just go in and see the format. Let's see who the Dutch are going to meet in the next round. And in the next round, Alec, we can see here they're going to meet Italy, the Netherlands.
Yeah. Italy had a really good seeding round, came out 3rd, and they will be the Netherlands' opponents. So the 3rd seeds against the 6th seeds.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I think the Dutch have shown themselves to be really strong. I think we and they were surprised that they finished 6th in the seeding round. So maybe 6th wasn't representative of them. We shall see, because the Italians are strong. They've got some big name eSailors in their team. So it's going to be a tough one for the Dutch.
And when we're seeing the last 3 races we are going to see tonight, we're going into race number 7, 3 versus 3 in a J boat, J17, 2 versus 2 in an F50, and then we're going to see, Alec, you called it Star Wars last time, 10 versus 10 in an Accra, and that's going to be very, very interesting what's going to happen there.
It's that last race is our equivalent of fireworks, a fireworks finale.
Yeah, let's go in and have an overview from studio of the game. And as we started, Alec, in the start of the whole regatta, we got an interesting message from the Russians that half of their team had internet connections in Russia. And right now we are waiting for 2 players to join in. And I know the race officer, he's writing the Russians right now that they can bring in 2 players if they have issues with the internet. See, now they're coming in. But the Dutch team we're going to see here, Danny Panadero, Wouter, and then we're going to see Casper. That's not the best players from the Netherlands. Danny Panadero has a lot of experience, but the 2 others, they're quite unproof in this level.
Yeah. On the other hand, they know they're through to the quarterfinals now, so it's a good chance to give their less experienced players some good training, some good practice against some really good sailors from the Russians. So it'll help them prepare really for the quarterfinal against Italy.
Yeah, and let's see if that experience can come in, but I'm pretty sure the Russians will do everything in their power to get the next point. And while we're waiting for the last Russian to come in, I'm just getting confirmation that he's on the way. Then let's just take a small break and go into it. And there we go, Alec. We are ready for race number 7. 3 versus 3 in a J-boat, long upwind. And I can say to you, they had some internet issues, so the team captain, Artube, is taking the position, and that's all okay. In real sailing, we have issues with wind, but in eSailing, we sometimes have issues with internet.
So, the Netherlands, represented by Casper, Wouter, and Panadero, and the Russians represented by Zoom8, Artube, and Rostis. It's race number 7 of 9. It's 3 against 3. We've got 20 seconds to go to the start, and we're now trying to spot to see if there are any tactics or strategies becoming clear here.
Yeah, and again, we have a race where it can't be tied. There will be a winner. You just need to get less than 10 points to win this regatta. So if you get first and second, then it's no matter what the third player has. So in this case, you can actually go in and win it. But Danny Panadero, what a slow start. And what also Wouter with a penalty. So
Yeah.
very slow start for the Dutch. But
Not a great start for the Netherlands, not at all. But the Russians, not sure they took advantage of that. Although, yes, they've got a man out in front. And Zoom choosing to tack away and pick up the spare Dutchman in the middle. So from that, I think we can presume that they're trying to match them, player against player.
But excuse me, I'm saying this because right now the Russians are playing themselves closest to us, and then on the inside we have the Dutch. So the Dutch are actually controlling the Russians. So what Zoom did here? Yeah, he went close to his companion, but see there he's getting the penalty because he got too close to Wouter, who actually get in and penalized him in a starboard. So quite interesting what's there. So Cube. Yeah.
So, based on that, and Cube can come in and agree or disagree with me. What Zoom should have done was stayed out on that side and let Artube come into the middle.
Yeah, it's quite a nice idea, but actually it's quite difficult as well to choose what to do in that case, because well, the race is still very close. We don't have the Netherlands clearly in front. We don't have Russia clearly in front. So that means it's all gonna come down to those downwinds. And then actually what you just want to do on the upwinds is stay as close as possible to the whole fleet. You don't want people hanging out in the back and actually losing the game from the start. So yeah, I think from Zoom it was quite a risk that he took there by just always getting closer and closer, and then suddenly getting the penalty, which was not something unusual to see there. I mean, he was tacking way too late.
Good move from Artube, though, that's given him the advantage over Casper.
Yeah, and it's side by side. Artube, he actually went on the inside, and Casper trying to go downwind to attack Artube, but he was ready for it, and now he's on the outside here. But there's one problem, Alec. When they're coming up to the mark rounding zone, and they're so close to each other, then it's the rule of the inside turn. So then Casper has to ride away again. So he needs some help from Rusty coming up here, or Rusty's.
I think Rostis is looking after himself there. He wants to reach that mark in the lead. But surely Artube can...
Yeah, he's pressing. Penalty.
Yes, there we go. He can force Casper out and inflict a penalty on him.
And he just
And
did it.
now he's okay. Now he's clear.
But
some good manoeuvring from the Russian captain as Rostis rounds. And it's going to be a Russian second round the top mark, leaving the Dutch to in third, fourth, and fifth. And now they need to worry about getting Zoom back into the race.
Yeah, but I have to say the Russians are in a perfect position now for getting first and second in a 3 versus 3. It doesn't matter what position Zoom are in. He just needs to slow down the opinions in front of him. So Zoom needs to kill Danny. He needs to attack Casper, and if he can, attack Wouter. Wouter needs to see if he can get close enough to Artube to slow him down, or else the Russian can actually sneak away and win this one.
Yeah, I mean, although Although for Zoom to just sit at the back and say, well, I'm okay because we've got 1 and 2 at this early stage of the race is way too risky. Because the Dutch are going to catch the leading boats, and it won't take much to get ahead of them. Just, one inflicted penalty on Artube, and the Dutch will will be back in it.
Yeah, but it's interesting. See, Casper lost momentum, so Wouter, he's the only one can do anything for against Artube, and Artube doing a great defensive. He's just outside of the wind shadows. He's following Wouter all the time, but that's actually letting Casper into the battle. So it's all about how Artube is performing in the upwind battle.
Let's have a look at the back too, because there's a real battle going on for 5th and 6th between Zoom8 and Panadoro. And Panadoro was overtaken and was in last place, but has just inflicted a penalty again on Zoom, which has put him to the back of the fleet again.
Yeah, and here it happened they needed to prevent it. The Dutch made a double tack, and this was not Westling, but it looks like Westling, a double tack, where they went in, both of them penalized Artube at the same time, and then split it up and getting ready to attack his teammate Rusty. So now it's all open again. 11 points for Russia, 10 points for the Netherlands.
Another great strategic fight, and I think it's going to be another race that is going to be decided on the line. These are really absorbing regattas. Even this one that has already been decided 5-0 is still full of action, full of aggressive moves and clever strategy.
Yeah, and it's interesting what Rusty is doing there. Cube, what to do to get back in the race so Artube can come up in 3rd.
Yeah, so now that's actually a task for Rustis. Rustis needs to pick one of those players. He needs to pick or Wouter or Casper, and then start just pressing, applying pressure, constant pressure on them, tacking whenever he needs to tag, and making sure that wind shadow slows them down as much as possible. And actually, he's not doing that at all. Like right now, he's just going down and doing something very, very dangerous there because he's giving away first place. So he's offering his first place up in order to get his team back in the front of the fleet now. And that's a very, very dangerous move because, well, that first place, although a lot of players might say it's not very necessary, it's still a very big advantage that you have there.
Wouter just nominally still out in front. Rostis 2nd. Casper 3rd. So this is going to end again in a sprint finish on the final downwind leg. That's what's going to decide it. It's going to be a really exciting finale. Wouter van Tresiviga. We need to get Cube to pronounce that for us.
Rusty took a chance. Casper went on the inside. Penalty to Casper. So now the Russians need to go in front of Casper. Now Rusty going upwind. So unlucky.
Oh, he's got it all wrong. Oh, he got it all wrong, Rostis. That was his chance to get ahead. It's still trying to reel in Artube is still trying to reel in Casper there.
Another penalty to Casper. The Russians has a second chance. Come on, Russia. Penalize each other. No. It has everything, this race, Alec.
That's what the pressure does. We said it was building to a big climax on the final leg. We're on to that, but the pressure has taken its effect on the players as well. So Wouter out in front. He's going to win this race unless he decides to slow to help his teammates.
But this is actually a battle.
He doesn't need to if things remain as they are.
Casper with his 3rd penalty within a minute. Zoom getting ready to attack Danny Panadero opposite. Artube has taken in his torpedoes. Panadero avoids. The Russians are in the lead now.
Artube has gone crazy, hasn't he? He's just gone on the attack and it's paid off. It's a Russian in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And see, Wouter is not crossing the finish line. He crossed the finish line. He couldn't stop the boat. So the Russians are going to win. What an aggressive attack.
So Wouter could do nothing about it. He wins the race. but
No, penalty inflicted to Zoom by sailing into his own. Oh, it's too late. Russia wins this race with a fantastic aggressive attack.
fantastic stuff. Second, third, and fourth. So 9 points to the Russians means that they win it overall. And now the overall score is the Netherlands 5, Russia 2. And the Russians have just won the last 2 races back to back. If only they'd started this earlier on in the regatta.
And the Russian bear
Fantastic,
coming
isn't it?
back, yeah. The Russian bear really showing what they're capable of. And in this case, yeah, it was esport, but it was also great sailing by them. They're using the esport rules and their way of doing sailing. Amazing.
Yeah, and you know, they've seen how the Dutch played it, and now they're giving them some of their own medicine. So yeah, great stuff from the Russians. Great stuff from the Dutch as well. I mean, they fought all the way, and it was only right in the final few meters, wasn't it, that the Dutch lost it.
Yeah, and now we go into a fast boat again. We're getting back to the F50. We're going to get 2 versus 2, and I can say to you that the Dutch has selected a team that is going to either tear apart the polar bear of Russia or lose it big time, because we're going to see again Bartlam Briggs and Robert Huisman in action. And Bartlam Briggs has also been in 2 qualifier finals in the SailTP boat, like our Bosma. So this is going to be great. They are ready for some action, Alec.
Yeah, you mentioned Bart Lambrechts. I mean, he is used to fast boats. He races the 49 in the Dutch Olympic team, and he did extremely well in the SailGP final as well. So he knows what he's doing in these fast boats. We've seen him team up with Robert already earlier on in the regatta, and they are a great team. But ArtTube Russia 1 and Megazip, I think they're going to have their work cut out to try and get a point over the Dutch in this race. But hey, who am I to predict? Already, we've got a little bit of needling going on between these 2 closest to us.
Yeah, and I can't see who it is. It's Bartlam Briggs, actually, one of them. He's here in front of us. And Bartlam Briggs, he might also have his experience from the Youth America's Cup, where he's sailing there in the team. So great race here. But here's the start. It looks like the Russian is having a good start. They're on the inside. It's only Bartlam Briggs. There's a threat for them at the moment. ArtTube, Megazip, no, Robert Huisman came over it. He's coming with more speed, but he's caught on the outside. So let's see how it ends up in the mark rounding. He slows down, gets a penalty.
Picks up a penalty. Megazip goes round. The Russians are ahead. ArtTube is in second. So a big penalty there for Robert Huisman.
Yeah, he really tried to slow down the boat and let the other boat sail into him. There was only one issue. Megazip, he was more on the inside. And while Robert was slowing down, he maneuvered his boat. So if you're doing that trick, don't maneuver your boat. Keep the same course, or else you'll be sailed down and get a penalty. Megazip in the lead, ArtTube in third, Robert in second, and Bartlam Briggs surprisingly last. But 50 meters is nothing in this boat.
No, absolutely nothing. And it's all about trying to limit the number of maneuvers you have to do, because your opponents are traveling so fast, you lose a lot of time with every maneuver in the EF50.
Yeah, and Robert coming back, he's getting covered by ArtTube. And right now ArtTube has the right of way. Robert, he's caught there. And Bartlam Briggs covered by Megazip. So all boats are close to each other. This is going to be a very, very tight battle for that mark rounding up there. Bartlam Briggs going away. And I have to say, Bartlam Briggs is the only player I've seen race side by side with another player and caught so he couldn't do anything and still survive it and almost win it. But then he hit a mark. That's a longer story. But let's see here. Megazip in the lead, ArtTube in second. Robert caught by him.
The Russians playing this very cleverly, very tactically, and playing it together. And the Dutchman on that far side going all the way out to the boundary line.
Yeah, he wants to come with speed, and if he times the well Bart, he might penalize Artube. See here, coming in, Artube in trouble! Oy.
No, he gets around Bart Lambrechts there. I could see what he was trying to do. That was a good explanation, Thomas, but it just didn't pay off for the Dutchman. And now the two Dutch boats are playing catch-up.
But another chance coming in soon. Bart Lambrechts side by side with Artube. Right now, Megasip, he just needs to sail away because a first and a third Russian wins. But a first and a fourth Russian lose. So, Artube, he can still lose. Oh, switching position, Megasip not doing a great downwind. And he's captured by Bart Lambrechts that can penalize him.
Oh,
Bart pressing him out, taking a chance, and there, roll switches. That's tactics.
Megazip sailed straight into that one. He had a very poor leg. Robert Huisman now coming in from that boundary, followed by Megazip. But over on that far side, Artube is out in front. And what can he do to help Megazip?
He can only penalize Robert. He needs to focus on Robert and don't lose his first position. See, he's doing it.
Well, he's going for him now.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then he's losing the lead, dropping to third. He took a chance. And right now, Bart Lambrechts can sneak away and take the win. But still, focuses on Robert. If they can penalize him and make him drop 2 positions, then the Dutch are losing. Robert attacking. Artube behind. It looks hard now. He took a chance. Maybe too aggressive downwind. Cube, what do you say to that downwind aggressive he just did there?
From Bart Lambrechts.
No, from Artube attacking Robert.
So sorry, I'm not following on the downwind.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter, Cube. You didn't see it. He went the torpedo in and turned around his boat and went downwind against it. But there we see.
Let's watch them come through this gate. The Dutch still the advantage, but the Artube really close to Robert Huisman.
But Artube doing a next attack, that cost him. He needed to continue on following the Dutchman. So this point.
Well, I wonder if that's part of a bigger plan. Maybe he spotted some breeze somewhere. And maybe he's hoping that this side, this right-hand side is going to, or staying to the right of Robert Huisman, is going to help him catch him. But they're heading towards the finish now. And I don't think there's anything the Russians can do anymore. It's Bart Lambrechts in first. Robert Huisman will take second. And then Artube and Megazip will be third and fourth. Again, another absorbing race. It was kind of decided halfway through, wasn't it, by that aggressive attack from Artube. He did have to try something, but it didn't pay off, and that gave the race to the Dutch.
And this is the second time in the EF50 we see the Russians turn a boat around, put in the missiles, as I said, and torpedoes, going after a boat, and then the boat avoids him, and he misfire, and then they loses the race.
Well, it's part of the game, isn't it? You've got to take the risk, and you've got to decide, do I go for it or do I not go for it, you know? And it doesn't always pay off, especially in the EF50 that is such a fast boat.
Such a fast boat, and when we are saying such a fast boat, Alec, we are coming into the Star Wars of eSailing now. And we're going into the NACRA 17. And it's going to be a 10 versus 10. And we are just waiting for all players to join in. And it's going to be a fast race where we haven't found the tactics of it yet here in the studio. Maybe we can have Cube tell us a little bit about what to do. But it's all about having a good race and don't get too many penalties in this race.
I think, to be honest, this race, the last race, it can't decide anything. It's the Netherlands 6, Russia 3. Just go out there, have some fun, and and leave it to the commentators to pull their hair out to try and make some sense of what is happening.
And while we're saying that, let's see the players while they're joining in. And here we have all the players, and Alec is sitting in studio still there, watching the screen. 12 players out of 20 are ready at the moment. And yeah, Alec, if we have to wrap up this fantastic, I have to say fantastic regatta, even though that the Netherlands won 5-0 the first 5 races, then we still had a lot of excitement in the last races.
Yeah, I'm just looking down. We got 14, so we're missing six players yet. Yeah, I mean the format is great, isn't it? Because this is the first time that the regatta has been decided so early on. You know, after 5 races, 5-0. So that's already unusual. But you can just see what this racing means to the players. They're representing their countries, and even when the Russians were down and out and are going out of the competition, they're still fighting for victory.
Yeah, and also for most of them, yeah, it's a game, but wow, we have interviewed players throughout the last week here, and they're all saying, wow, do you know how much practice we have been doing, how much teamwork we've been doing, how much communication we're doing? They're taking it very serious, this eSailing. We can also see it on the social medias where they're actually clipping out elements of the races and posting afterwards. And I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed.
Yeah, and also there are players out there who aren't competing, who are watching this and learning, because they are learning from some of the best eSailors in the world. And there are tactics and strategies that are fascinating to watch, and a lot of people are learning those strategies for the first time.
Yeah, and if you are one of the new viewers watching this, then you can actually both play this fantastic game on a tablet, on a mobile phone. I just have one here, guys, or on your PC. It's one of the few esport games that is actually on all 3 types of devices that can communicate together. And we have a funny story for the first World Championship, Alec. There we had one guy coming with his mobile phone, KZ7 Matt. And can you tell me how he qualified?
He used to lock himself in the toilet to play on his mobile phone so that he wouldn't get told off by his wife, because he spent so many hours playing the game in order to qualify for the World Championships that he had to lock himself away to not get into trouble. I could see her point of view, but there we go. So that was his story. He learned to play it on the toilet.
Yeah, and right now we are missing 2 Dutchmen so we can start the race. The Russians got their internet back, so we just need the 2 last Dutchmen to join in so we can start this fantastic race we have here. And while we're saying that, let's put up another anecdote because at the World Championship we saw all 3, the first one, we saw all 3 devices, mobile phone, tablet and PC, and surprisingly enough, it was Havuk from Turkey playing, one of the few one playing on a PC, and also Alexandro Melino. But then, second year, there came a rule that they were only allowed to play on a tablet or a mobile phone, and then Alexandro Melino had a really hard time playing this game, because that switch from a tastature to only using the fingers to play, it took him half a year to adapt into it. So yeah, there's a huge difference.
There is a huge difference, but it also tells you how many hours these players put in to perfecting their art and perfecting their sport. And when you suddenly take away the tool and you give them something else to play with, it's all that muscle memory needs to be unlearned and then relearned for the new device.
Yeah, and while we say that, all 20 players are ready for it, and yeah, it really relearning. And And the mobile phone guys are sitting like this, the tablet guys are sitting like this, and the tastature guys, when you see L1 from France playing on a tastature, he's playing on a tablet with a tastature. The reason why he's doing that, we can go into that afterwards, but he's switching buttons all the time. I think he press around 20 buttons per minute, just all around the time. Let's get ready to action. Let's get ready, Alec, as you call it, for Star Wars. Race number 9 coming up, 10 versus 10 NACRA, Alec. And it's all about points, and it's all about getting a good start and not capture many penalties in the race. And then it's about you winning upwind and losing downwind like the 49er. So who is best to have a great upwind leg?
Well, they're poised and ready to go. The final race of this regatta in the NACRA. 10 against 10, 20 men and women out on the course. The Netherlands already have the race, but the regatta, but who is going to win this race? Bart Lambrechts gets a good start. A few penalties on the start line, inevitable with such a large fleet. Yeah. And Zoom 8 coming back from that F50 battle. Art Tube as well. Ilya Vunov. First, second, and third. Bart Lambrechts, the best placed Dutchman, off the start line.
But I have to say, in the 49er, we saw a false start for Douwe Bosma, and we saw a false start for Danny Panadero, and we saw a false start for Casper. And the two of the three also have a false start here in the NACRA. So a little bit aggressive in the start coming in, while we're seeing a penalty to Ruther made by Irarush. But it's all about points, Alec. It's all about points. So let's see how it's going in.
So I was about to say these two seem to be locked together in a personal battle. Gritscher and Megazip. Gritscher, the young 17-year-old that we saw in action in the Star match race earlier on this evening. Penalty already handed out to Ilya.
But Artube killed his own teammate to get in the lead. We also saw the Polish team captain. He wants to win the last race, and we're seeing Artube doing the same thing here. So no mercy to the teammates.
No mercy to the teammates.
I'm
just trying to look down. I'm trying to find, where's the Dutch captain? He's down in 20th? Oh, down bottom. There we go, in 13th, sort of just mid-fleetish. Okay, well, here we go then. Top mark. Artube, Zoom, and Robert Huisman, Bart Lambrechts.
Douwe,
so the leading three, probably their strongest sailors for the Dutch.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's actually the Russian leading the group at the moment. Artube, Zoom, and Kusen. Then Bart Lambrechts and Robert Huisman, the two top sailors we saw, they're battling in between it. Robert going to aggressive attacks against the leaders. Bart Lambrechts is under pressure by Kusen, and there, nice defense by Bart. Kusen with a penalty. Bart makes a small maneuver in front of him. Kusen didn't see it because they're going so fast, dropping down to 6.
Oh, he gets another one.
Robert with a penalty in the mark rounding also, so he's losing the battle in the lead. But Bart Lambrechts and Robert is winning positions up there.
Ilya picking up a penalty from his teammate. I don't think there are any team orders here. I think they're playing for fun. They're playing to win individually.
And now we see a switch. The Dutch is actually doing a great job to take the middle positions. We saw a huge group of Russians at the middle positions. But after Kusen, he lost that battle downwind. He dropped down to 8. And then the Dutch actually took over the middle positions. So interesting. But let's see the winning battle here. Let's have a focus on that. Artube versus Bart Lambrechts. There's 50 meters. Bart Lambrechts doesn't have a chance. It doesn't look like it. Zoom coming here and can put dirt into that machinery on Bart Lambrechts.
Well, we've seen Zoom lose quite a few sort of match race, head-to-heads in this regatta.
But great upwind, Alec. He's taking the lead over his own captain.
He is. Storming ahead.
Great upwind race. Also from Casper. That's putting Bart and Artube behind. Great stuff. This is all about, as I said, upwind is the most important part of this boat. Robert on the inside.
Robert Huisman comes in from nowhere and takes the lead. And Artube, yeah, I thought he crashed into his...
he crashed into Zoom to get a better position.
Picked up a penalty.
But it's 4 Russians up there with Dauer now and Robert. So the Russians in a good position. Then we have a pack of Dutchmen coming in. Erelus.
The Russians is 11, 12, 13, 14, all Russians. They're well down the leaderboard. But
it's very open, Alec, because see in the last position we have Panadeo, we have Gutsche, and in the lead we have some Russians, but Huisman is taking the victory away from the Russians in the lead, individual victory. We don't have to score yet. Then Artube second, battling it up with Zoom. Dauer wants that battle up there. Let's see what Dauer is doing. He's not taking it. He gets 4th. Then it's a Russian coming in. And a Russian in 6. And then 4 orange boats. And then it's interesting. Now every point counts. Russian. Yeah, I think actually the Russian in that finish downwind leg took it, Alec. But it's all up to Cube to do the math tonight. He is the race officer, so he will inform us about that. But let's see the interesting end battle here. Top mark, upwind. Robert was in second. He got a penalty at the gate mark. We saw that in the battle against Zoom and against Artube. Then upwind, he made a fantastic upwind. Same thing Zoom did, but Artube, he got a penalty at that mark rounding for sailing into Zoom, and that costed him 4 positions to the team captain of Russia.
I've got the final score for you.
You have the final score. What is the final score?
It was so close. It was so close. It was 101 to 109. And Russia wins the last race. So the match, the regatta ends, the Netherlands 6, Russia 4. A very reputable final score in the end for the Russians.
So what a comeback from the Russians in the NACRA 17 in the last downwind, succeeding winning. So they're winning with 8 points in that big group fleet race. So amazing. But also some good battles tonight, Alec.
Yeah, really good battles, really good strategy, really good team tactics. A dominating performance from the Dutch, winning, the first 5 races in a row to seal the regatta. So congratulations to them. They really showed their class. They will go on to play against the Italians in the quarterfinals. And I think Italy will have watched tonight's regatta and will be scratching their heads thinking, okay, we need to come up with some strategies. We need to really get out there and do some practice because the Dutch were looking strong. But also the Russians, big hearts, big fighters. Well done to them. They could have just given up, but they didn't. And they came back to get their 4 races in the end.
Yeah. And what a fantastic format. I actually love it. I'm getting more and more in love with it. And we have one more in the round 1, Alec, and one more knockout phase. That is Japan. And who are they going to meet?
They're going to be playing France, and that's on Saturday night. So we've got some great entertainment for you Saturday night. It's going to be live. We're going to bring you all 9 races in the regatta. And I just checked their seeding. So Japan was seeded 8th. France seeded 9th. So very close indeed. I know the French were disappointed by their seeding rounds, but it reflected their performance. So will they step up to the mark and beat the Japanese, or will the Japanese go through to meet Spain in the quarterfinals?
So see you all next this Saturday.